Hey YouTubers, old guy doing things here, and I've got another project underway. I thought I'd share some bits and pieces of it with you. One of my earlier videos, I did a hardy board installation on that little wall you see over there. We did a video on that, and some time has gone by, and now I'm having to replace the fascia board on this section of the house. I can't believe the kind of construction methods that were used in the past when these houses were built. They didn't pay a lot of attention to flashing and drainage and water and whatnot, and it's finally catching up with me. Now, I'm doing some things a little different than just simply buying a piece of replacement fascia board and putting them up here, because the replacement fascia board, and first off, let me show you what I've done. This piece right here, this one white piece you see right here, is up. It's primed. It's not completely painted. And then underneath it, I have primed the wood structure, the wood board that the fascia board is nailed to. I haven't done it over to the left here yet. I'm going to do that today, but I thought I'd show you what I've got going here prior to that. So anyway, I plan to continue and replace the fascia board. And both ends of the fascia board where it meets the, I'll call it fascia going up the side of the house, they're rotten and bad, and I'm going to have to replace them also. But what I want to talk about today is the replacement of this flat fascia. Now, I've noticed that in some of the new construction, it's not like this today, because the fascia board goes flat over the plywood, but this plywood sits in a groove in the fascia board. Now, I don't know whether you can see this or not. Let's get up here and see if we can see it. See that groove that's in the fascia board? It sits in that groove, and then I'll show you down here on the ground a little bit more of what I was dealing with. This is the fascia board. That's a section of the fascia board that was on the house, and if you'll notice, it's a real soft wood. It's not primed or anything before they put the additional piece of wood that goes under the shingles on it here on the outside. So it's prone to any leak or any extra water that gets on it whatsoever. It's prone to start rotting. Just a terrible piece of wood. Now, what I found was I went to Home Depot, and Home Depot does not, in the area I'm in at least, does not even sell this fascia board anymore, the type that was on the house. Now, it's sold at Lowe's, though. I did go and check with them, and it's sold at Lowe's. It's basically the same material. It's very expensive, and it's just poor quality. So what I choose to do instead is I'm replacing the fascia board, I guess you'd call it the stock fascia board, the pre-grooved fascia board, with 1x8 pressure treated lumber. One of the things that I try to do is I try to look 10 years down the road and say, when I do this project, I don't want to come back and mess with any piece of it for like the next 10 years. So I chose to use the 1x8 pressure treated, cut my own groove in it. Let me show you what that looks like. This is a piece. This is the back side of a 12-foot section of that fascia board where I've cut the groove and I've primed the back side of it, and I plan to put that up today. Now, the way I cut the groove, I tried a variety of different things, and I'm sure anybody who's got a good table saw with a dado blade, you can just skip over this part. But I've got a table saw with no dado blade and no use for it on a regular basis. So what I've done here is I took this 1x8 that came off the house, and I measured from where it goes up to the roof, or up to the shingles, I should say. Here, came down and marked this 1x8, put a groove in it, and then I came back and I cut the groove, the whole distance on that 1x12, using just a traditional circular saw. And I shut this down to the depth, which is just a little over which is it's close to a 1/2 inch depth, and I just cut each side of the groove with the blade, and then came back and cut the middle out of it and kind of worked out the meat that was in the middle of the groove. It worked okay, took a little time. I tried using a router, but routers don't like me, and so I made a bigger mess with the router than I made with the circular saw. So anyway, I went ahead and did it with the circular saw. So this wood should last a long time. I prime it on the back. I come around, I prime it on the front. I also prime the wood that's behind it, and hopefully when I get through with this project, we won't have to come back and revisit this for a pretty good while. Let me show you this corner over here. This is the long running boards are pretty straightforward, but this corner here is, and there's one similar to this on the other side, is where the water's come down and it's kind of rotted out this corner here. And I'm definitely going to replace this corner section. I think I'm going to cut a straight cut down here and try to take out this that one piece of fascia and come back in and replace that and see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to piece that together. If I have to replace this bottom section here, I've got a piece of 1x12 hardy board that's left over from another project that's long enough for me to cut out that triangular section and replace it with hardy board. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all of that yet, but right now this is where I am on the project, and if I can figure out how to append another video to this one, I'll show you what I did in these corners after I get through. But I didn't see anywhere where anybody was building their own fascia board and using a better quality material than the fascia board material on one of these retrofit projects on YouTube. So I thought I'd at least share this with you. Now, I've noticed in new construction, a lot of people are using hardy board, and they're just butting a sheet of hardy board on the soffit up underneath it, and it turns out real well, and that's a real good way to go. But for a retrofit project like this, this solution works for me, and I hope it has some value to you. Have a good day, and hopefully I'll be able to append a video to this and show you what we did on the corners.